Okay, good afternoon everybody and welcome. It's a little slightly different today. Prof Krishna couldn't make it, so I am half hosting with Ben and Ben's hosting the other half. My name is Marla. I'm the Executive for Insights and Strategy at DaVinci, for those of you who don't know me. And we've decided to do things slightly differently today. So as those of you are aware, we've started these sessions with a debate because part of Curiosity is about the robustness of conversation. So there's no one more who can start a robust debate like Prof Ben can, as you all know. So we started a few months ago, starting out with that. And our idea really is that we start getting conversations going. But what we'd also love to see is if you guys have any ideas that you would like to see debated and amongst the group, please just pop us a mail and say, I'd like to see this or that debated. You can just email either myself at marla@davinci.ac.za or just communications@davinci.ac.za, because we really would like this to become that kind of a platform for people to really engage. And then we asked our PhD speaker to do something a little bit different, and we asked him to pose questions to you as a panel to say, while he's giving you a bit of an understanding and a background, please will you think about these questions. So we hope with a little bit of that shake-up we can do things slightly differently. So with no further ado, I pass over to Ben for our debate of the day.
Okay, so I want to start off with a question. Whom of you are mindful, just by show of hands? Who would define yourself as being mindful, purposely so?
What's the definition of mindful?
Well, thanks for the question. So then I will explain. But they already...
You should explain first.
Well, you see, they didn't ask. And that's part of what I want to talk about. So what is mindful? We've got an idea about it, and it may not be the same, but I've got my idea about it in asking it. But if you look at mind, if I ask you, are you using your mind? And are you engaging your intellect? What do you hear? Vincent?
Are you aware of your surroundings?
Are you aware of your surroundings? So if you look at the literature on mindfulness and people using their mind, and I almost want to say for purpose of our discussions, let's make it in business. If you say you are using your mind, do you think that's a positive attribute? Audrey?
I think so, yes.
You think so?
Yes.
All right. Master?
Yes.
You think so? All right. So if we look at the literature, they will explain that people who use their mind, do you think they are aggressive or passive in nature?
Oh, I don't know. You would have to define what
Okay, so now you start thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. So normally or in general, when you say you use your mind, there's a notion that you are passively inclined. Why, you may ask? Because using your mind, yes?
Sorry, Benny, I'm a bit lost here because...
That's not strange.
Say I'm in the wrong place. Say using your mind, but normally, surely you apply your mind to something.
Okay. Well, I asked, do you use your mind? We'll get to apply the mind.
Okay.
So when you use your mind, there's literature that says, well, using your mind, you are potentially inclined to be passive. Meaning, you stick to the rules, you even apply your mind to the traditions and the cultures that exist. So I work at company X, I apply my mind to what is the culture and the tradition, I stick to it, I adhere to it, I do all the right things, but from a psychological point of view, you are most probably predisposed to be passive because you follow the rule. But when you say, I use my mind and my intellect, what happens then, Theo? What could happen?
You would maybe challenge things that you would not just accept.
So the assumption is when you become intellectually involved, which we could say is maybe a different level of engagement, you start synthesizing, you start collecting ideas, you start integrating constructs, and you make a new decision. In academic terms, we could potentially say people who use their mind and apply their intellect are probably more creators of new knowledge or of alternative visions and views. Those people in psychological terms will be defined as predisposed to be aggressive.
You're more likely to be aggressive if you do things without thinking about them.
Well, if you think about thinking, you're probably more aggressive inclined than passive. So I'm now just talking about passive and aggressive, and how it could relate to using your brain and using your intellect.
But doesn't it have to do with your personality? In the sense that some people are analytical, and they'll apply their minds, or they'll think about details of things and work things out and so on, and I'd agree that they tend to be more passive. Other people would be naturally more aggressive because they are not analytical, they're more driven personalities. And so they would be thinking of different things and maybe not in the same degree of detail, but their problems and the issues that they're looking at, they're coming at it from a different perspective. So in my mind, an analytical person analyzes what there is, and the other type of personality thinks about what there could be.
And I want to say you're correct on all fronts. So I'm not even arguing that. So I'm not even trying to state a truth. I'm just putting an idea out there.
Many versions of the truth.
Yes. So if we play with the idea of mind and the idea of intellect, especially in the Eastern philosophies, there's a strong argument made for those of us who just use our mind will potentially be more passive inclined, and those of us who use our mind and our intellect and combined will be more aggressively implied. And passive and aggressive here has got no positive or negative connotation. It's just you're more passive or you're more aggressive. If I think of what's happening at work, my sense is we still have large numbers of people using only their mind. So the corporate dictum says A, B, and C, and we follow suit. The government in South Africa says A, B, and C, and D, and we've got compliance charts, and we tick the boxes, and we say, yes, we are doing the right thing. Have all the passively minded actions that we've taken as a society over the last, well, we can take hundreds of years, but let's at least say most of us have lived the past 20 years, has that necessarily made us a better society?
No.
Maria? Shirley?
No, I don't think it has. I think that the mind, using the mind, and the three things, mind, mindfulness, and then the intellect. I think when you're using your mind and intellect, you're moving into a cognitive space, a higher level cognitive and heuristic space.
Yes. And that heuristic space is critical.
Which is demanded of many people. What they think is compliance and being mindful. What they think is mindful is compliance and being quiet and just acceding to whatever comes. Whereas real mindfulness in an Eastern philosophy is a very different thing.
Yes. So why I wonder whether we are even interested to reflect on the idea that we actually stuck to the tradition and we stuck to the mind and we actually say we are excellent. So we created frames, mind frames, and we all created, even DaVinci tries to frame them, to create frames, but do those frames solicit more understanding of the complexity of what is happening around us? Or are we trying to minimize things and say, let's just make it achievable and manageable? We just today had the review of how doctorate programs should work from the CHE point of view, in the country. And the debate eventually turned on, but we must remember we must manage this. So let's not make this too complex, because we must manage it. Now, I understand the practicality of it, but I'm not sure whether that's the best thing for us to go forward. So, I don't know. Talk to me, therefore, in your mind, do you think we should aspire to be a more aggressive society in this context? Therefore, you can also be more energetic, more aggressive, being more intellectual?
Being more intellectual can really help, because we'll be able to explore different things that other people not explore in the same way.
But why are we so careful of embracing it as a nation, seemingly?
No, we have to, because, look, South Africa, we're different in the sense that we've got a unique history, you've got the diverse country with a different approach to issues, but how we relate to each other and other things is what makes us unique.
So let's take that comment. He says we're unique. We're unique. Are we unique? Francis?
Well, by nature, I think he's 100% correct. As human beings, obviously, we are unique.
Okay, so let's say we were sitting in Uganda today with 42 different languages. Are they more unique than us with 11?
No.
Francis? You see, I'm just curious when we say unique, and is that from the mind or is that from the intellect that you speak? No, I'm asking him.
I can say from the mind.
So how will you speak if you speak on that same matter from the intellect?
From the intellectual point of view, intellect really is informed by what we're exposed to in terms of literature, observation. If you have got inquiring mind, then as an intellectual, you will supplement that with a lot of literature that you can review. And then it will definitely change your approach on
Right.
things.
So I think I almost want to stop it there as a way of introduction. I think you just grasp it the way I see it, not necessarily the only way. But I think we must challenge each other more to move from the mind to the intellect. To say, okay, so I think this is unique. And then somebody must almost ask me, well, what makes it unique? And then maybe I'll argue, well, okay, it's not unique anymore because I know more. But are we really supporting each other in taking more a step forward and wider than just staying to what we believe? Trishan?
But the society doesn't want that. So in a society you have mindful and then you have aggressive. But it's almost like if I can compare it to complacent and ambitious. Whereas some of the complacent part wants to tick the box. I want to come in 8, I want to leave it 4, I want to do A, B, and C. But the ambitious on the other side of the scale is the ones that want to go past to get to D, E, and F. And as a society, it's almost structured that way. Not by anyone's fault, but it's evident. You see it in your daily life.
So will we then say it's okay, or will we keep challenging it? Keep biting away on that apple?
Well, as an institution, I think our vision should be to challenge it constantly. To create more the aggressive than the...
So it's always interesting, thanks Trishan, when we sit in this session and our PhD students participate, you will see some audience members say, oh, don't be so hard on the candidate. Well, that's, from my point, a mind perspective. It's not about being hard, it's about being intellectual. It's about being aggressive in the sense, putting all the energy on it, because it's only then that we are, in my mind, truthful to what is the truth, or the potential truth. So I almost want to invite you all today with the fact that we're going to have Jacob sharing his PhD journey, and he's only started with that, and hopefully you will reflect in your questioning, not just to be mindful on him, but to be intellectually engaged. Thank you very much.